Hey everyone, welcome into TexAgs Rewind. David Nuno with his Batman voice. I lost my voice like a little girl, guys. We all were yelling this past weekend. It's the fan show. Fellas, say hello.
Morning.
Howdy.
All right, that's not the kind of hello I was expecting. Everybody very short here. Stephen McGee was on the program, Buy, Sell, and Lease. He had great stuff there. Ryan Swope, always getting it done here on Thursdays. He joined the program as well. Aaron Torres giving his thoughts on what the A&M victory over Alabama meant. And also these guys here. We all were pretty happy Saturday, right?
Very much so. Understatement.
Yeah,
Elated.
still happy today.
Yeah, it is the TexAgs Rewind. All right, Stephen, time for a little Buy, Sell, Lease. Who are you buying this week?
Well, can we buy? I want to buy them all this week. They're an incredible performance. I'm gonna buy number 6, HA. I mean, this guy's dynamic. We've known that. There's no news there. But to me, it was the element in the pass game. We saw some of that speed. I'd love to see him incorporated more. Get them both on the field more somehow. But yeah, 6, run, pass, all the above.
OB?
I'm buying that pass rush because they finally came in aggressive, a lot like the previous week, unlike then. And I thought Elko was masterful in the way he mixed in blitzes. Notice I didn't say dial up. And just the pressure that they were getting. And you're going to need to have that pressure this week against a guy that likes to throw a lot in Connor Bazelak.
I'd like to buy Zach, but I'm not going to because I think that's the easy one. We're all buying Zach. I'm buying that offensive line that kept them clean the entire game. The Aggies needed a big run. Even though they didn't have huge numbers running, when they needed a big run like Spiller, they got it. And that offensive line is a big part of that. Steven, who are you selling?
I don't want to sell anybody this week. Honestly, I'll sell the punter just because I hope he doesn't get out there against this Missouri team. I hope his offense is just up and down the field and putting points on the board. So let's start with the special teams guy, not because he's not playing well, but mainly just because I hope we don't have to use him.
That's tough. I'm selling the idea that you just automatically are going to beat Missouri, even though I kind of lean that way, just because you worry about taking the game for granted. I know that when A&M beat Oklahoma in 2002, the next game they lost to Missouri. So I'm kind of with Steven. I don't know what you can sell on the team, so I'm going to have to be a little more abstract here. So I'm going to sell any ideas that, hey, this means you're going to automatically go beat Missouri, and hopefully, they don't.
I'm selling stats because if you look at the stats, it would look like Alabama dominated A&M, but that's not exactly what happened. A&M dominated them physically. Alabama had 522 yards. Their quarterback threw for 369, 10 less yards than the Aggies had as a complete team. They had the ball for 33 minutes to A&M's 26. The only stat that matters in that one is that the Aggies won 41-38. They were the more physical team, especially in the fourth quarter. That's why they won. All right, what are we leasing, Stephen?
Man, there's two guys, offensive and defensive line. I really want to lease. Number 76, Father. I mean, this guy is something else. You could just see the ability. He was locking guys up. Now, there's an occasional, I'm 18-year-old and I'm a bust, and that's fine too. I know that he's probably got to clean up his protections, pass sets, and seeing the big picture. But from an ability perspective, this guy's going to be really unique. And then number 3, Tyree Johnson. Every so often, this guy just jumps on the scene and has a huge impact on the game. I know OB alluded at the defensive line performance in that game. Getting quarterback pressure was key for us, and number 3 had a big part of that.
Leasing Zach Calzada. He was obviously brilliant. He became legendary, and yet there's been other games where he struggled. So I'm feeling good. I'm not selling him, but I think that I might be willing to buy if he follows up that performance with another excellent showing.
This was actually my first game that I got to attend this year. Just with having kids, that's kind of taken over my life. So it was very, very refreshing to be at Kyle Field. And man, how about that performance on Saturday night? That was something special. I was proud of our team. I was proud of all the guys. I was proud of the way that the coach, the game plan, the coaching, and then obviously how the 12th man showed up. I mean, it was just an incredible night. Definitely one that we'll always remember for a very, very long time.
Before we get going with all the usual stuff, I want to ask you this. You were a part of a team that was having some trouble. Like I'm talking about 2010, right? And y'all beat Oklahoma, right?
Yeah.
Can you talk about what that win over Oklahoma did for the team? Because y'all went on a winning streak. Y'all had already won, I think, against Texas Tech and Kansas. That's no big deal. But you beat Oklahoma, and then you beat a couple weeks later, you beat Nebraska, and then beat Texas. And what did you hear that a big win like this can take you two ways. You can either celebrate it and then fall back and lose. What did it do for y'all, and why were y'all able to continue on and keep winning?
Yeah, that's actually a really good comparison that year. I think that Oklahoma game, I think they're top 5 in the country that year. We beat a number 9 Nebraska, and we already had some pretty, I wouldn't say bad losses, but disappointing losses. But I think it was one of those deals that we knew that we were capable of, and we knew that we were better than what we were showing on the field. And it was just a matter of getting everybody on the same page and executing, bottom line. So I think that this kind of is very similar situation here, because I know that we believed in our team, and I know that coach has been recruiting his tail off, and we're a very talented group. It was just a matter of all coming together and putting the puzzle together in a collective matter, and then going out and executing. And we saw it. I mean, we saw what this team is capable of doing. And, I think that it's just a matter of time. There's a lot of young guys, young offensive line. I mean, it's just a matter of learning from those mistakes in the past and how can we be better. And I think that we saw a revived football team. And going forward from here on out, I think we're seeing these guys are going to be playing with a lot more confidence. And, that win against Oklahoma back in 2010, well, it was kind of domino effect. It gave you kind of a chip on the shoulder. It gave you confidence and the assurance that we are a good football team. We can compete with anybody in this league, and let's do this every, week in, week out, because it's fun. And we know that we can do it. So I think it just comes down to, you get that big win against Bama under your belt, and moving forward, nobody can beat us. Play with, that winning mentality. And I think that it's just crucial that we got that win, especially after, a tough couple losses there, to have, Jimbo, to get his team to bounce back like that against number 1 Alabama. I mean, that was just tremendous job all around by his coaching staff, and just by the seniors and the leadership on that team to rally behind, a lot of adversity that they had just been through, and then come back and beat the number 1 team in the country. I mean, my hat is off to that team and the 12th man and everybody involved. Everybody was involved in that victory Saturday night.
Coming out of that weekend before, where Alabama really handles Ole Miss and Georgia really handles Arkansas, there was this narrative, and I was one of hundreds of college football fans that fed into it, that it was Georgia, Bama, and everybody else. And, but even coming out of that Bama game, I said, wait a second now, was Bama that dominant, or did Lane Kiffin gift wrap them 21 points? I mean, they went for it 3 times in Alabama territory. They did not convert. Alabama had a short field. They gave them 21 points. And so, I thought Alabama should be 1 or 2 in some order coming out of that game. Don't get me wrong. But I think we looked at both of those games, Georgia 37-0 and Alabama 42-21, as the same win, and they were not at all. And so, I think it confirmed to me that this is not a vintage Alabama team. That's an Alabama team that could have lost in the swamp, maybe should have lost in the swamp. But I don't think they lost solely because they're a terrible team. A&M rose to the occasion. They had their most complete game of the season. Obviously, it goes without saying. But I do look at this Alabama team, and I do think, look, in the last 2 NFL drafts, they've lost 2 first-round quarterbacks, 2 first-round left tackles, 4 first-round receivers, Najee Harris. I mean, I do think the attrition, they've had some injuries this year on the field. On the defense, the entire offensive staff left this offseason, headlined by Steve Sarkisian. So I do think attrition has played a role in this program. I don't think it's the best Nick Saban team that we've ever seen, but that's also not to take away from Texas A&M which just played an incredible game on Saturday
All
night.
right. What is on my mind? Well, I'm eating some crow this week.
Take your beating now.
I'm taking my beating. I got a story. So I had tickets, parking pass, everything to the game. And because I had such a terrible experience at Mississippi State the week before, not just because we lost, it was getting out of the stadium. It took me like an hour and 45 minutes to get home. I was just like, you know what? I was just tired. I was like, you know what? I'm not, and I go to almost every game. I've only missed 2 conference games, I think, since we've been in the SEC, home games. And that was LSU in 18 and Bama in 21. Those are the 2 games I've missed. And I'm eating crow because I didn't think we stood a chance. I know we talked about this last week. And I learned something. I learned a couple of things this weekend. First, the Coast Guard does not go to Lake Somerville. Number 2, don't ever count out a Jimbo Fisher coach team, because those guys from the get-go looked like, to me, they knew they were going to win.
Yep.
From that first handoff to Spiller, and he busts through the line and he's going up the field, and you're going, man, they look different. You just felt something different. Even watching it on TV, it felt different. The crowd was in it instantly, and I'll leave the crowd noise and how the experience of the stadium was up to Hunter, since I was a wuss and didn't go. But I mean, everything looked fantastic on TV, and I was shocked, pleasantly shocked. And I've been on cloud 9. It's overcast and everything out there, but I'm walking on sunshine still today, boys. So
heck yeah,
good stuff.
Hunter.
Incredible weekend. First, started off Friday morning. TexAgs Big Shot raised a ton of money for Big Brothers Big Sisters, right? Rolling to that, I do some work for Chili Fest. We had a concert. They produced Friday night. Robert Earl Keen, Shane Smith and the Saints, Josh Abbott. Weekend's already really good, right?
Right.
Wake up the next morning, we're doing ribeyes for the Alabama tailgate. So we're seasoning ribeye. I mean, get whole ribeyes, and we cut them. We slice them up into steaks, right? Cooked ribeyes out there at the tailgate. I mean, I didn't think the day could do pretty nice weather. You know, it's warm, but it's windy. Thought that would top it right there, right? This is the peak, the pinnacle of my weekend, and then we go into Kyle Field, and it was live from the national anthem, you know, obviously until 100,000 people were on the floor of the field. Mm-hmm. I just told Gabe, I don't know if I'll ever see Kyle Field like that again.
Hey, what'd you say? You compared it to 85 TU,
I
right?
wasn't there in 85, even though I'm pretty old, but I was there as a freshman in 87. I was first deck, couldn't hear. But this is different. This is why we built this giant monstrosity of a football stadium.
Now, this is going to be fun. There's no chance my brother knows what's going on. By the way, that's Alex Nuno here on TexAgs Rewind. What are you supposed to do after you watch a video on YouTube?
Erase it? Delete it? Yeah, they allow that too.
Yeah, I guess so.
Why don't you tell them?
You're supposed to like, share, subscribe, and please comment.
There you go. It helps our analytics. And if you're watching from another school and you hate us, thanks for getting us paid. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
It is TexAgs Rewind.